Hello, welcome to Talk Sport, your home for everything football and sports, where passion meets analysis and banters is always on the menu. I'm your host, Ade Michego, and today we've got the cracker for you on Talk Sport, but I'm not
right now. The Catalonian, we're so happy, we're so excited, and the expectation is that we'll get the trophy again this year. We're so happy, we're so excited, and the expectation is that we'll get the trophy again this year.
People, Arsenal goes, we see season in, season out, but I love the new talk from the Arsenal fans. Yeah, it's the 3 points that really matters.
Yeah, first of all, good evening, viewers, and good evening to you guys. And so excited, we've got all 3 points against Manchester United. For a while now, we've been unbeaten against Manchester United in the league. I think going back to 6 games now in a row. So it's becoming ownership now. I think we own them right.
You own them right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go straight into the thick of action. The Premier League rolls into Match Day 2, and it's a big London derby at London Stadium. West Ham against Chelsea. Also fresh from global glory by stumbling in their opening league match and face looking to bounce back after a heavy defeat. Let's dive into the 10 key match. I'm talking about Chelsea's global momentum. Chelsea enters this fixtures as world champion, having swept PSG aside in final. The question is, how much does that success carry into the Premier League? And to Doc himself, yes, does winning the Club World Cup genuinely gives Chelsea a psychological edge in the league, or is it just a distraction from domestic priorities?
I think it's a wonderful impetus for them as a team. Chelsea, towards the last part of the season, they were already gelling and they were beginning to form a formidable team that was virtually well on the log, and they carried that into the CWC. And from the Club World Cup, considered the kind of opponents they had in that tournament, they were able to PP all of them, including PSG at the final. So it's a lot of impetus, it's a lot of advantage taken into the new season. And for Chelsea players who are young and most of them without much silverwares to brag about, going a boost for them, it's a lot of encouragement, and I think they should carry that into this season. However, EPL is not always uhuru this season. EPL is not always uhuru. You have to face all these guys that will stand in the way, the low blocks, the middle blocks, and of course we saw that in their first encounter, against, playing a draw, losing Palace. 2 points against but Crystal Palace, we know, is a strong team. FA Cup holders and Community Shield winners against Liverpool. Though they dragged them into the penalty kiss. So Crystal Palace is a naughty nut to crack. It's a very difficult one, and Chelsea couldn't crack them. But I think Chelsea has a good edge coming into this season.
Okay, it's the second game of the season, and Chelsea still playing the London derby. They'll be the visitor to West Ham come Friday. You can join us on Premier Sport Fan Center for that commentaries and live and watch along of that program. To follow the Arsenal fan, how important is global success in shaping Chelsea's identity under Enzo Maresca compared to winning at home?
Well, it's like Doug said, good one for Chelsea, as a football club for winning the Club World Cup. But if you look at, the World Club Cup they won itself, you could see that the teams they played, some people will say they didn't actually play the big boys, apart from what they call them now, Paris and
there's no apart from it. At least they play PSG and they're
yeah,
to the final. So there's not like
no,
apart
no,
from.
They played the biggest boys.
They play the biggest boys. That is the European Champion. I don't think that's any effect on them.
This argument I've been going on since about you are playing World Club Cup without the champions of what they call in England, the champion of Spain, the champion of some other countries.
So the initial World Club. Oh, you are an Arsenal fan, so sorry. You don't really know what. You've never played in a FIFA Club World Cup, so you don't know what is Club World Cup is. Let me go to the dog. I'm coming. Let me go to the dog.
The FIFA Club Cup is different from this.
No, I'm coming. Let me go to the dog, who is a regular. His club do play in the FIFA Club World Cup, the old one, which is now the Intercontinental Cup, and you've won it before. Has it ever been the champions of each league coming together to play a Club World Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the champions of each league,
the champions of each
league.
Continent.
So
each continent.
That's one. So how were they able to come about this Club World Cup? What were the criteria?
Well, those the champions of maybe for Europe teams that won the Champions League.
So what are you not saying?
But looking at those teams, some of them have already won the Champions League 4 or 5 years ago.
No. It's 4 years ago. It's a 4 years count. So you can't tell me 4 years ago was much.
It's much.
So your Arsenal should be.
It's not even win the Champions League.
So what's not the argument?
Arsenal didn't win the Champions. What I'm saying is that the first question you asked, Doc, I think if Chelsea thinks because they win the Champions, I mean what do you call it?
The Club World Cup.
The Club World Cup means that the form will translate to them coming back to the league and be doing win the league or win matches. I don't think it's like it works like that, because it shows that Crystal Palace. Look at Crystal Palace. Against Crystal Palace, they find it very, very difficult to defeat Crystal Palace. Though
it's
I'm
a
not
small
thinking
club. They play a small club.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, as in they play the small club the way you're saying it.
They are small club.
Yeah. They won the FA Cup.
It doesn't matter now.
They won the FA Cup. They won the.
Portsmouth won the FA Cup.
Moving on. Talking about after that eyes just brought back down to it. I'm talking about that draw against the Crystal Palace in March the 1. Yes, it was a disastrous outing for Chelsea based on their own standards. But it was really good for Crystal Palace. At least they showed that yes, they are not here to make the numbers in the EPL, and showing that winning the FA Cup and defeating Liverpool in the Community Shield wasn't a fluke. But was that draw was that draw simply a case of fatigue after international travels, or does it expose deeper tactical issues at Chelsea?
For Chelsea to lose again,
to play out a draw against
but what it means is, like I said, the EPL is a very difficult tournament to play. It's a difficult competition. It's going to be a season-long competition, 38 games, but we know you have to take each game at a time. And you're talking about teams that are technical. What's Chelsea's history versus Crystal Palace? If you look at their last 4 encounters against Crystal Palace, I don't think they have a win record more than Crystal Palace. That's looking at the last 2 seasons versus Chelsea. So they've always been a difficult nut to crack for Chelsea. And Crystal Palace is not a lowly team right now. On the log table, they are top 10. And in terms of FA, they defeated a strong team at the final to win the FA, Man City, and they also defeated Liverpool to pick the Community Shield. So coming from the Community Shield and the FA, what do you expect from Crystal Palace? Crystal Palace is going to go all out with that confidence that if you can beat all these giants, City out to get the trophy, Liverpool out to win another silverware, then who's Chelsea?
Wow.
So I'm even surprised they didn't score against Chelsea at all.
Yeah, they actually put the ball into the back of the net, but
it was
Law 13 of FIFA actually, of IFAB actually, the goal actually contravened that, and that was why it was actually removed, because there was always supposed to be a 1 meter gap between the wall and the opposing player. So the captain Gueye had to push in the Chelsea defender beyond that 1 meter line. So that was why that goal didn't stand for Crystal Palace. Okay, straight away to Paulo. How much pressure does dropping early points put on Chelsea in a season where expectations are already sky high for the Blues?
Well, it's a very disappointing one that Chelsea dropped point there, and it now depends on what the target is for Chelsea. I was in the studio here about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said I talked about, if you really want to challenge for the league, you can't afford to start dropping point early, because the league now, you look at teams, they've all strengthened, and now for you to win the league, you need to make sure you gather those points. But it's still early days, but Chelsea can't afford to drop any more points as it stands now, because you look at teams now. I don't know that's why I say.
So everybody goes 38 games without losing, right? Without drawing a game. Without losing or drawing.
I'm not saying no.
That's what you're making it look like.
What I said is that if you are
like I don't understand the language.
You can't afford to drop. To me, I think that point they dropped that it was unnecessary.
Was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I'll be here in the studio during Arsenal Crystal Palace.
Now, let me just put in a word. Let me just put in a word to that. As much as Paulo has his own reason for choosing that opinion. It totally contravenes everything in league. You have 38 matches to play and so much points up for grab. If you put 38 by 3, you're talking of about 140 points up for grab.
Somebody finishes with 140 points.
Excuse me. In 2008,
Maybe that's why Arsenal has not been able to win the league for 21 years.
Yeah.
Excuse
because
me.
We've been finding it difficult to beat those teams.
In 2008, Barca under Guardiola lost their first match against Numancia, newly promoted Numancia, the very first match. And they went on to win the league with 90-something points that same season. They won treble, they won sextuple that same season. So that they had a draw, they didn't even lose. It was a draw that Chelsea played. And they're playing Crystal Palace. We knew it was always going to be a banana peel for Chelsea. You've always known that. In fact, like I told you, I expected Crystal Palace to put in a goal and then Chelsea will start scrambling to equalize. That's how tough I expected that game to be. But it didn't go that way. 0-0 was a good outcome, if you ask me, especially coming from the Club World Cup and all the hype that Chelsea has. Everybody's going to look at the Chelsea club differently now. They're not going to play them as they played the last year Chelsea. They're going to play them like World Club champions, which makes it difficult for them. They know Cole Palmer more. Now they study him, they study their players. Estavio, Joao Pedro, they're going to be studying all of them like they study these giant footballers now, not like former Chelsea. So it's going to be more difficult for Chelsea.
Okay, we'll move on to squad depth and rotational concern at the Chelsea. All the story is still based on the Stamford Bridge Club. Chelsea's summer spending spree means squad depth is not an issue right now, but balancing and rotating might just be the problem. And Paulo, do you think Enzo Maresca can realistically keep all his new signings happy, or with this great dressing room tensions or seasons on foot?
Yeah, he has to find a way to keep them happy, because we saw against Crystal Palace. It started with Joao Pedro. Later on, he had to withdraw him for Lian Delap, and I think the other new signing also Jeremy Gittins. Starting also Steve coming. I don't think there's any other new signing that didn't play apart from probably Esugo, and we understand why, because I think Esugo will definitely have playing time hard to come, because for him to take away a player like Moses Caicedo, for him it will be a very it's going to take time for him to blood. He needs to find a way, like you said, to keep them happy, but at the same time, if he continues rotating them like that, I don't think there will be any issue. The next match we might be seeing Leandela starting, probably playing what's the other guy, Joao Pedro, more deeper role, because there are some people that have said he should be playing Palmer from the wing, then allowing Joao Pedro to play as a number 10. But I don't think that might happen, but because you have Estevo that can also play from the wing. But at the moment, I don't think there should be any complaint from the Chelsea new signing, because just they won, all of them, almost 90% of them have tasted the Premier League action.
Okay, let's start moving to the injuries worries at Chelsea. Levi Colwill is still sidelined with nail injury. Raising questions over Chelsea's defensive stability. The doc, you're a doctor here. I know you have a flair to talk of talking about injuries to players. How big of a loss is Levi Colwill to Chelsea systems? Do you think they have the depth to cope in central defense? And looking at the kind of injury he coped this time around, it's a nail injury. For how long do you think Levi Colwill will be out?
I'm not sure exactly, but the medical team should have given us a date.
He's an ACL. He picked up an ACL.
So I think he's out for the season.
No,
it's going to be out for close to the season, 6, 8, 10 months, depending on the kind of injury. Because even when you treat ACL by surgery and you're supposed to recover, it takes 6, 7 months to recover, and there may be a relapse during recovery. It happens to footballers a lot, especially when they are trying to rush back. Usually, you should just let that season be 10 months to get your ACL back in place, because apart from the surgery, the anterior cruciate ligament is a major ligament that is, in fact, as important as you having the leg. Without that ligament, there are two of them, the anterior and the posterior. They crisscross this way. One of them stops your leg from sliding backward. The other one stops it from going forward. So footballers and people who run need it to be in perfect shape. And for the players to sacrifice, apart from stitching them together, they need to heal properly. And that takes quite a while. And when they do, recovery takes another 3-4 months.
Wow.
Because the muscles will have atrophied to about 40% of their original size and strength. So you now have to mobilize the muscles, strengthen the muscles, and feed the person with the right nutrients to boost the muscle to come back at least close to the other one that wasn't injured. We saw the case of this young man, one of wonderful footballers in Bayern Munich who had ACL injury. We saw how his leg emaciated.
I'm talking about, what's it called? Davis.
Davis, yes, the American boy. You know, he had.
Canadian.
Oh, he's Canadian. Yeah,
Alfonso,
okay.
yeah.
Alfonso Davis. If you look at the two legs now, two thighs, one is just almost half the other one, and he has to build it. And that's his major leg, his right leg, his dominant leg. So for Leverkusen, I think Chelsea should just look at options available. Darabioyo is there. And you'll have Chaloba always available. They need to just get a replacement for him now because he cannot return to form. Oh, look at what's his name? The last Ballon d'Or winner from Spain. Rodrigo had his injury. He was supposed to come back in 10 months. When he returned, he couldn't do anything until the end of the season. At the end of the season, he got a relapse.
Yeah.
He got another injury. He had to be off again. He couldn't play for Spain. So ACL injuries are usually, in fact, they used to be terminal injuries for players. But now, they can be managed if properly given enough rest.
Okay.
So for me, it's 10 months for him.
All right, 18 months is the timeline for Leverkusen to be out or be sidelined from playing football. We just wish him all the best and quick recovery to the Chelsea centre back. Paulo, should Chelsea dip back into the market for defensive cover across the youngsters coming through? And just today, it was confirmed that Renato Vega will be joining Villarreal in the Spanish La Liga. It's a 25 million euros of fixed price and 4.5 in add-ons. So with Renato Vega out of it now, Chelsea needs, is there any need for them to go into the market and get themselves a left centre back?
Well, it depends, depends, like Doc said, they should have confirmed the number of, how long Leverkusen will be out. And we saw Chelsea last match. I think they started with Archipong, and they have the likes of Wesley Fofana still,
Available for selection.
There is, what is his name again? Tosin Adarabioyo, who is also around, and there's Badia Shield.
He's also not injured.
Badia Shield out injured, but I don't think they are long-time injury. It depends if they are long-time injury. Aside from Leverkusen now, who is out for a very long time, I don't think the other ones are out. But they started with Archipong, and I think that they played fantastically well. It was very, very, good on the ball. But I don't think Chelsea should be going because they recently brought in Ato.
Ato is more for the left back.
I think he can also play across the back line. So it depends on the other guys that have been out injured now. If their injury is going to be up to 3-4 months, I think they should be going to the market. But if it's something that they can come back maybe within 2 weeks, why not hold on?
Okay, moving straight to West Ham's worrying start of the season. For West Ham, it was a tough start, beaten 3-0 by newly promoted Sunderland in their opening match. The dog was that defeat and early warning sign of deeper problems at West Ham, or just a bad day at the office. Losing 3-0 to newly promoted Sunderland.
Yeah, we know championship clubs, when they come in, usually come with that strength. And they they usually fall along the way. Sunderland played a very good season, had a wonderful season, and they made a lot of money, coming from championship.
Yeah.
And they
come in
with
got a lot of players.
A lot of players. They
reinforced
hugely. They made a lot of money, about £210 million or so from winning the championship. And that's a lot of money to spend on players for a club who just came from championship side, And when they come in with that strength, what do you expect? They come in and, West Ham unprepared. West Ham didn't play them for so long, and West Ham is possibly trying to balance their books and try to beef up for the season. And, of course, they were hammered. And of course, we expect West Ham to reshuffle. But West Ham will be facing Chelsea now, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I think West Ham is going to give one away again. It will be buy one, get one free. Because Chelsea is going to come with all the aggression and try to recover points. And West Ham will try to stand up, and it's a London derby. It's a central London derby, so it's going to be a major issue against West Ham. I don't think it was a bad day in office for West Ham. I think it's the state of West Ham right now.
And the last was it called? Kudos to Tottenham Hotspur. And he used to be there.
They didn't lose him; they sold him.
They sold him.
Yes. So what do you expect from them? And that's their major key attacker, And so you give out your best leg in front, and how do you score? How do you put the opponents on their toes? Because if your strikers are out and they are not on their toes, especially players that give defenses problems, the defense will be at rest and they will be able to support attack, which is what they suffered from.
Okay, Apollo, straight to it. Playing Chelsea at home this week at the London Stadium, do you see it as the best chance to bounce back, or is that the worst possible fixture for West Ham?
I think that should be the best, game for them to come back, because if they can get at least, if possible, if they can get all 3 points, it means that the fans, the players will look at it. If you can defeat probably the reigning world champion, then we can go all out. I find it, I don't know if West Ham. I'm not sure if West Ham will be able to win that game, because what I'm saying is that if you look at West Ham since last season, they've been very, very poor. I think they finished behind Manchester United, 16th on the log, and this season they started the same thing. Though they've let some players go. Talking about Kudus and the striker, and released some couple of players. They've probably brought in a goalkeeper, the Leicester goalkeeper, and I'm trying to remember his name, and they've also brought in the Ivorian left back, who I think is a very good player, but the way they play under Graham Potter, it's not encouraging. And if you watch the game against Sunderland, you could see that once you attack this same West Ham, you definitely get good. But if they need to step up this season, they need to start from that game against Chelsea, and I don't think that would. For them, if they win that game, I think they will definitely, pick up from there. But if they lose that game, it will be, a terrible situation they find themselves.
Okay, talking about Graham Potter, it's more than just a derby in that game between Chelsea and West Ham. Talking about Graham Potter, is the former Chelsea manager, is now in the West Ham dugout. The Doc, will Potter's inside knowledge of Chelsea's squad give West Ham a tactical edge, or is that overrated? And does this match feel like a chance for Potter to prove a point to Chelsea fans and his former employers? He actually lost to Chelsea last season, so I don't think this is any chance for him to prove anything to the Chelsea fans.
Okay, so as a Chelsea follower, as a Chelsea ardent fan with Chelsea records and data, you already know Graham didn't actually make much impact in Chelsea. He didn't build anything per se, and he doesn't even understand the present lineup of Chelsea. Most of those players evolved after him, and you've seen them become whatever they are, not under him but under Maresca, and you don't expect anything from Graham Potter against Chelsea. I am not giving him any chance, because there's no experience or there's no knowledge he's bringing in here. Chelsea is playing differently from what they were when he was managing them. So I don't see him upsetting Chelsea in any way over the weekend for the second match day.
Okay, so there's no chance for Graham Potter to help to upset Chelsea in match day 2. That game is going to be played on Friday at 8 p.m. Nigerian time, so you can catch clips of that game when it comes up in the EPL. And also talking about one big talent, we asked to be Estevao William. One player catching headline is Estevao William, the teenager shown in the Club World Cup and is pushing for a regular Premier League start at Chelsea. Paulo, should Maresca trust Estevao to start key matches now, or ease him gradually? And do you think he could become Chelsea's breakout star of the season, similar to what we saw of Cole Palmer 2 seasons ago?
I think first off, I think Enzo Maresca should gradually ease him into the team because you look at the players ahead of him. They've been in the league, for some time, and they know the league very well. He's just coming into the league, not just the league, but playing in Europe for the very first time. Not that he has been playing maybe in Europe. So for him, he's a very good player. A lot of attention has been on him, and I think he can also be Chelsea breakout star like Cole Palmer. But the manager needs to take it easy with him and gradually ease him into the team. Don't just put all the pressure on him to avoid weighing him down.
Okay, and also talking about history, that's the head-to-head about this club. History doesn't really favor West Ham here. Chelsea have beaten them 3 times in a row, but haven't won at the London Stadium since 2017. Does history matters in derbies for these, or is it just form the only real factor when it comes to this kind of games?
Yeah, we know you can't rule out history, but we also know that history does not usually outrun forms. So I'll stick with form if you want my honest opinion. Chelsea has a better form, mentally and strength-wise. Chelsea has a better form in terms of quality right now. And looking at the squad of Chelsea, it's a young guys, average age 24, 25 of the squad, and they have just come from a gallant victory over the whole world in club football. They will be playing in London as a London derby, just a few stone throw from their own stadium, right there in central London. And West Ham wants to overturn that because history. I mean, they haven't won at the London Stadium. No, I don't think so. I think Chelsea is going to London Stadium and they're going to win and get all the 3 points. If you have to put anything on that match, Chelsea to score, Chelsea to win. That's my own.
Okay, you can hear that sound from the dog. Chelsea to score, and it's a Chelsea victory for him. Paulo, Chelsea away records has been solid. Yeah, do you expect the trend to continue, or could West Ham spring a surprise at home come that game?
Well, it's a London derby, and Chelsea just finished one London derby, and from one London derby to another. And this time they are going to take on a team that recently lost their first game against the newly promoted team. Talking about Sunderland, defeating them by 3-0. And like you said, Chelsea have been good. They are good away. But last season, Chelsea defeated this same West Ham away from home. I think 3-0. Yeah, 3-0. So I see that form continue, the away against this same West Ham, because to me, West Ham are not, they are not the team they used to be in the past. So
okay, away from Chelsea, we have to just move away from Chelsea and talk about all that football matches coming this weekend in the La Liga. Barcelona will be traveling to Levante to play their match day 2. And the dog, some of the analysis of that game between Levante and Barcelona, what are we to expect from that encounter?
Well, Levante is going to get it. They are coming up now into La Liga, and they're going to get it again. They're going to be hammered. Welcome to La Liga, Levante. Gante has always been Barca's baby. If it was Osasuna now, I would start shaking, because Barca going to Osasuna is always, and a banana peel for Barca. They usually find a sleeping point there, but Levante shouldn't be a problem for the Barca team, especially with Lewandowski returning from injury. And aside Lewandowski returning from injury, you also have other players who have just come in. You see Marcus Rashford getting into the game gradually. He was given about 10, 12 minutes in the last game. People complained that he didn't take a shot at goal. But we know Marcus Rashford. He's not the type that just take blank shots. He takes shots only when he knows it's steady, and he usually does a lot of assists. In the pre-seasons he played with Barca, we saw what he did. He did quite a number of assists, and he also put some in himself. So we're expecting that from Rashford. A lot of expectation for him. Lamine Yamal out there. Rafinha is hot as can be. And with Levan coming in, Lewandowski coming back, we expect a lot from that Barca team. And that Barca team is confident, and they are decided that they must win trophies this season. Top on their list is one, win La Liga again, and Champions League. So they're going to fight for it from the start to finish.
Okay, we'll talk about the other two big boys in La Liga. Atletico Madrid against Elche and Real Madrid away to Oviedo. Real Madrid struggled yesterday against what's it called Sasuna. They struggled to get a 1-0 victory. Caught that penalty goal scored by what's it called Kylian Mbappe. The doc looking at these two games, Atletico Madrid against Elche and Oviedo against Real Madrid. What are your expectations?
Well, it will go the same way. Madrid will struggle, but they will win. Yesterday they will struggle, but they got their goal at the 51st minute. The penalty wasn't dashed. They end it. It was a foul in the 18-yard, and they end it. So they have the stars, they have the players, and most of their attackers and midfielders are strong right now. Injury, well, maybe Vinicius. The real gentleman who is already coming back, not Vinicius now. The central defender, Brazilian Militao, who's already playing and training with the team, and he's been doing individual training for some time. He should join the team. And we also expect their midfield to be as strong as it used to be. So I don't expect Oviedo to give Real Madrid a problem. Elche cannot give
Atletico Madrid.
These guys are just coming to La Liga. They're just coming back, and you know how hungry these guys are. Atletico wants to win the league. They want to play. They've gone to World Club Cup. They've gone to that level. They want to remain at that level, and they've got players. They have players who can do it. They've added, strengthened up, and look at Solot recently. Solot towards the end of that season and last season, Solot was scoring like an average of 1 goal every match. The last 10 games they had. And Solot is fit and is in the game. And you have Lautaro Martinez also in the game. Alvaro, was also there. So they have players who can do this for them in Atletico. And Madrid has the players. Mbappe is fit. Vinicius Jr. is fit. And, of course, I think they're going to let Rodrigo go. Possibly let him go, but they have players who can replace him. Absolutely.
All right. So big games to come in La Liga this weekend, so you can always find a way to get up those actions, and you can also be with us on Premier Sports Fan Center when we run the commentaries of those games. Now the dog to the EPL, we've talked about West Ham and Chelsea exclusively. Looking at the other games, we have the big one, Manchester City against Tottenham Hotspur at the Etihad Stadium, Arsenal at home at the Emirates Stadium against Leeds United, and we also have the biggest one of the weekend, Newcastle against Liverpool. That game is on Monday, and Fulham against Manchester United. Fulham has always been a thorn in the flesh of Manchester United. Looking at those 4 games, your quick opinion on them.
Yeah, I think the toughest picture. That was the game coming up on Monday. Newcastle will be hosting Liverpool, and a lot will be on that game, because we know how Liverpool have tried to what's his name, Alexander Isak. The saga going. Yesterday he released a statement, and over the night, before the daybreak, Newcastle also had to release another statement. So, but for Newcastle, they played their first game against Aston Villa, and they played at a goalless draw. I was even expecting they would lose that game, but due to the issue going on around the club, but they surprised me. They held on, and they are playing against the Premier League champion. Talking about Liverpool. Last season, I think they played at a 3-3 draw at home against Liverpool. But I expect Newcastle to come out fighting, and probably get at least something from that game. And you talked about other matches, including the match between Arsenal and Leeds United. I think that should be an easy win for Arsenal in that game.
Okay, that should be an easy way for Arsenal against Leeds United. You can always get all these actions, and you can get the results and the live and watch along on Premier Sports Fan Center when we come around this weekend to do justice to those matches across everywhere around the world. And yesterday, the Chan Eagles, that is the home base Eagles, actually crashed out of the Chan 2025, so they'll be back home. We'll be looking forward to the World Cup qualifiers against Rwanda and South Africa come September. It's always a pleasure having you guys in the studio.
Yeah.
Thank you,
for having me.
Shegun. It's always lovely to be here. And over, I like to say this: your viewers and fans and followers and subscribers are the ones keeping us in the studio. And we want to say, I personally want to say thank you for standing in there, for subscribing, for sharing, and for liking our materials. Keep viewing and keep sharing. Thank you.
Okay, that's about how much we can take on tonight's edition of Talk Sport on Premier Sports Fan Center. Until we come your way again, it's bye for now.
Oh, and another goal for